A stunning battlefield moment raises new questions about modern warfare. In modern warfare, size and strength do not always guarantee survival. The battlefield has changed dramatically over the past decade, with precision weapons, drones, satellite surveillance, and real-time intelligence transforming how armies operate. One recent incident reportedly demonstrated this reality in dramatic fashion when a large Russian military convoy entered Ukrainian territory and, according to battlefield reports, disappeared from combat effectiveness just minutes later. While details remain contested and independent verification is often difficult in active war zones, the has attracted widespread attention because it highlights a growing trend. Large concentrations of military vehicles are becoming increasingly vulnerable in the age of precision warfare. Witness reports suggested that a sizable Russian military convoy was moving toward a strategic sector of the front. The formation allegedly included armored personnel carriers, logistics trucks, fuel vehicles, and combat support elements. Military convoys serve several critical purposes. They transport troops, ammunition, fuel, food, and equipment to frontline units. Without these supplies, offensive operations quickly lose momentum. However, moving dozens of vehicles together creates a highly visible target. Analysts have repeatedly noted that modern surveillance systems can detect convoy movements long before they reach their intended destinations. Drones flying overhead, satellite imagery, electronic intelligence, and reconnaissance teams can all contribute to tracking such formations. As the convoy crossed into a contested area, Ukrainian forces were reportedly already monitoring its movement. Historically, large military columns could move with relative security if they maintained speed and enjoyed air cover. Today's battlefield is very different. Small reconnaissance drones can provide continuous observation over vast areas. Once a target is identified, coordinates can be transmitted within seconds to artillery units, missile batteries, or attack drone operators. This means that a convoy may be detected, tracked, and engaged faster than ever before. Military experts describe this process as the sensor-to-shooter chain. The faster a military can identify a target and deliver fire onto it, the more effective it becomes. Ukraine has invested heavily in shortening this chain throughout the conflict, integrating reconnaissance assets with artillery and drone operators. According to reports circulating among military observers, the convoy entered a vulnerable section of terrain and was struck shortly afterward. The alleged attack involved a combination of reconnaissance drones and precision-guided fire. Observers claimed that lead vehicles were hit first, creating a bottleneck that prevented rapid escape. Additional strikes reportedly targeted support vehicles and logistics assets positioned further back in the formation. Once a convoy becomes immobilized, every vehicle behind it can become trapped. In such situations, confusion spreads quickly. Drivers attempt to maneuver, commanders struggle to assess the situation, and communication networks become overloaded. Within minutes, what began as an organized military movement can turn into chaos. Reports suggested that after only a brief period, the convoy had effectively ceased functioning as a coherent combat formation. Many people focus on tanks and armored vehicles, but logistics vehicles are often even more important. Fuel trucks, ammunition carriers, and maintenance units keep military operations alive. Destroying these assets can have consequences far beyond the immediate battlefield. A tank without fuel is little more than a stationary target. Artillery without ammunition cannot support advancing troops. Repair units are essential for returning damaged vehicles to service. For this reason, modern military planners often prioritize logistical targets whenever opportunities arise. If reports regarding the convoy are accurate, the loss of support vehicles may have been just as significant as any damage inflicted on armored combat units. Both Russian and Ukrainian forces have dramatically expanded their drone capabilities. Thousands of drones are now deployed across the front lines, creating what some analysts describe as a nearly continuous surveillance environment. Under these conditions, remaining undetected becomes increasingly difficult. Large vehicle formations are particularly vulnerable because they generate obvious visual, thermal, and electronic signatures. Military academies around the world are studying conflicts in Ukraine because they offer valuable lessons about future warfare. One of the most important lessons is that concentration of forces creates risk. For decades, military doctrine emphasized massing combat power to achieve breakthroughs. While this principle still has value, commanders must now balance concentration with survivability. It is important to note that wartime reports are often difficult to verify independently. Both sides in a conflict release information designed to influence public opinion, boost morale, and shape international perceptions. Videos may show only part of an engagement. Casualty figures can be disputed. Initial reports sometimes prove inaccurate once additional evidence emerges. Therefore, analysts typically wait for multiple sources and visual confirmation before drawing firm conclusions about specific battlefield events. Nevertheless, even unconfirmed reports can reveal broader trends in military operations and highlight the challenges faced by modern armed forces. Whether the convoy was completely destroyed, partially disabled, or simply forced to retreat, the story underscores a larger reality of 21st century warfare. Technology has dramatically reduced the margin for error. A formation that might once have advanced safely for hours can now be detected and engaged within minutes. The combination of drones, precision artillery, satellites, and real-time communications has transformed the battlefield into a far more transparent and dangerous environment. For commanders on both sides of the conflict, the message is clear: mobility alone is no longer enough. Survival increasingly depends on remaining unseen, moving unpredictably, and adapting faster than the enemy. If the reported incident occurred as described, those 3 minutes may serve as yet another example of how modern warfare is rewriting military doctrine in real time. Mass use of drones goes beyond interception. It also includes offensive operations, even on the ground. A spike in Ukrainian production of land warfare first-person view (FPV) drones, small and nimble aircraft controlled remotely through a headset that streams live video from the drone's camera, lets a single operator guide it accurately to a target. Each drone costs between $300 and $400. This has offered a partial solution to Ukraine's shortage of artillery ammunition. FPV drone production grew from about 3,000 to 5,000 units per year in 2022 to about 3 million in 2025. As of early 2026, Ukraine's defense industry could produce more than 8 million FPV drones annually. In addition to the FPV drones used on the front lines, Ukraine has new long-range drones that are much more costly to produce, but can target oil refineries, ammunition depots, and military air bases deep inside Russia. They work alongside Western-supplied missiles, such as the Anglo-French Storm Shadow and the US-made ATACMS, while avoiding the higher per-unit costs and the restrictions imposed by international partners for the weapons they provide.